But let's stop pretending Meghan Markle's history didn't exist before she became the Duchess of Sussex. Let's talk about the stuff nobody wants you to say out loud. Because before Harry, there was Trevor. And before Trevor was even out the door, there were whispers. Whispers that got louder with every tweet, every friendly photo, every eyebrow-raising interaction Meghan had with a certain type of man. Not actors. Not directors. Hockey players. Yeah, you heard me. NHL-level puck slingers. Allegedly, of course. Let's not get sued, but let's not play dumb either. Back in 2013, Peter Holland, Canadian ice hockey player, wasn't just some random follower. He wasn't just a fan. He was tweeting Meghan Markle directly. And not just tweeting. Flirting. Publicly. Openly. And she was replying. There were receipts. Messages about picking her up from the airport. He literally says, "Part of me wants to unfollow you now because I found out you're married." Married. As in, not available. As in, what are we doing here? You know what that kind of tweet is? That's not a joke. That's a challenge. That's a dare. That's a guy saying, "You're married, but you act single." That's a guy who's not tweeting in a vacuum. That's a guy who's already been talking to her behind the scenes. That's not how you tweet a stranger. That's how you tweet someone you've been vibing with, and then you found out she's taken. And Meghan? She didn't shut it down. She didn't say, "Hey, I'm married, back off." She kept it going. Kept it cute. Kept it vague. And then a year later, boom, she's tweeting about needing a ride from Air Canada and hockey boy Peter jumps back in like clockwork. Offers to come pick her up. Again. Publicly. This isn't speculation. This isn't some tabloid fantasy. These are tweets. From verified accounts. From 2013 and 2014. You can go dig them up yourself. This is real. Now, did they hook up? We don't know. Do we need a photo of them in bed to draw conclusions? No. Because behavior speaks louder than screenshots. When you're married and tweeting with a guy like that, offering pickups, sharing inside jokes, dropping little winks, it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. And fans did. Quickly. They slapped the Puck Bunny label on Meghan like it was a name tag. And for those of you who don't know what a Puck Bunny is, it's not a compliment. It's a woman who chases hockey players for the lifestyle, the fame, the edge. Not for love. Not for personality. For the clout. That label didn't just pop up randomly. It came from patterns. From rumors. From sightings. Because Peter Holland wasn't the only one. Enter Michael Del Zotto. Another NHL player. Another name tangled up in the Markle mess. April 2013, she's visiting him in New York. Posting photos. Laughing. Hanging out. Can we prove what happened behind closed doors? No. But we can ask why a married woman is jetting off to chill with another man in another city and then posting the evidence like it's a vacation highlight reel. That's not what happily married people do. That's not what someone committed to their husband does. And speaking of husbands, Trevor Engelson? The guy she left just a few months later? Yeah, he was blindsided. Heartbroken. Sources close to him said the whole thing felt like betrayal. Like she'd emotionally checked out long before the divorce papers hit the desk. And let's be real here, irreconcilable differences is code. It's the Hollywood way of saying something went down, but we're not telling you. And that something? Might have had skates on. Now here's where it gets nasty. Because Meghan went from being a C-list actress with a few cable credits to being seen with athletes, celebrities, influencers, always one step closer to the spotlight. And the second she got in the royal orbit? PR makeover. Suddenly she's a humanitarian. A feminist icon. A duchess. But the internet doesn't forget. And the people who watched her climb the ladder, they remember exactly how she played the game. This isn't about slut-shaming. This is about accountability. About calling out patterns. About questioning the narrative that's been sold to us, neatly packaged in palace press releases and Vogue interviews. You don't go from Instagramming with hockey players to holding hands with a prince without cleaning up the mess in between. But she didn't clean it up. She buried it. Or tried to. But the cracks are still there. The tweets are still there. The whispers never stopped. And now, when people bring it up, they're accused of being hateful or conspiratorial. No. They're just paying attention. And let's talk about the double standards. If this were a man, If Prince Harry had been tweeting actresses while married, flying out to see them, posting cozy pictures, what would they say? They'd crucify him. Call him a cheater. A player. But Meghan? She gets a pass. She gets the benefit of the doubt.
Why?
Because she's got a crown now? Because she's got better PR? Let me ask you something. If nothing happened with Peter Holland, why was he tweeting like something did? Why say, part of me wants to unfollow you now because I found out you're married? That doesn't come out of nowhere. That's not fan behavior. That's personal. And if nothing happened with Michael Del Zotto, why was she posing with him, visiting him, acting like a free agent while still married? This isn't about proving every rumor. It's about recognizing the smoke. And where there's smoke, there's fire, or at the very least, a pattern of shady behavior that doesn't match the polished narrative. You know what's wild? Even after marrying into royalty, she couldn't escape it. The rumors followed her. The Puck Bunny label stuck. Because people don't forget. And no matter how many charities you support or how many speeches you give, the internet has a memory longer than a Windsor bloodline. And here's the kicker, every time someone brings this up, Meghan's defenders scream racism, sexism, misogyny. But let's strip all that away. Let's just look at behavior. Tweets. Timelines. Public interactions. If this were anyone else, we'd be asking the same questions. But nobody wants to talk about it. Because it's uncomfortable. Because it chips away at the fairytale. Because it reminds us that even duchesses have skeletons, and some of them wear skates. Now before the stands come running, no, this isn't about tearing down a woman for her past. This is about being honest about the climb. Meghan Markle didn't stumble into royalty by accident. She networked. She social climbed. She made choices. And some of those choices? They weren't exactly squeaky clean. You can't rewrite history just because you married into a monarchy. The story of Meghan and Harry is sold as a love story. But what if it's a rebrand? A carefully constructed escape from a past that didn't fit the royal mold? What if the Duchess we see today isn't the full picture, just the final product of a very calculated evolution? And let's be clear, the issue isn't that she had relationships. The issue is the overlap. The timing. The public flirting while married. The PR spin that swept it all under the rug. People talk about her as a victim of the press, but maybe, just maybe, she's been playing the press longer than we think. Maybe the Real story isn't about a woman wronged by the tabloids. Maybe it's about a woman who mastered the game and flipped the narrative.